So glad you are with us on the Texas Wealth Report. Brad Johansson, Coby Culpepper, Impact Partners Financial, as we get ready to give you the Texas Wealth Report. Coby, nice to have you, man.
Thanks, Brad. How are you doing?
We're giving Summer a day off, aren't we?
It looks like it.
She needs a day off.
She does.
At this point. Let's introduce the folks to you. You've been with Impact for a little bit. Give me a little bit of background. How long there, and what do you focus on there?
So I've been with Impact for 7 years
now.
Feels a lot longer, I can't lie. But I really tackle the day-to-day meetings.
Yeah.
Right? Diving in there, meeting with the clients, meeting with prospective clients, right? And helping them develop a strategic retirement plan.
So what's your background coming into this? You've done a little bit and now kind of lead in the advising with a lot of these clients going through.
I actually started at a big box firm, a brokerage house.
Which is where a lot of people have been.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I decided to break away and go independent.
And can you give me just an idea? Because a lot of people leave the big brokerage houses to go independent. Why is it so significant a difference to come from this to we're going to focus?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, at the big box firms, it's very structured. Right, and they have their specific investments that they want to use, and sometimes that's not always appropriate for every client, right? And so I felt like going independent gave me a little bit more freedom to do what was best for my clients.
Oh, I love it. Well, it kind of leads us into where we are, which is trying to get you a plan for retirement. You've been doing what you've been doing for decades, and you've gotten pretty good at it, to the point where you say, I'm ready to be done, and now we want to retire. Just once. And there are not a lot of people that do things for the first time absolutely perfectly. You probably need some help, which is why we're going to try and lead within that. I think for people with an advisor at a lot of big box firms, wealth accumulation advisors, you have your portfolio. Give me an idea, as you have people walking in, how many are walking in, dropping a portfolio in front of you and saying, here's my retirement plan?
Brad, I see it all the time. I would say less than 10% of families that come in to see us actually have a financial plan. What they have is they have statements, they have performance reviews, they have things that tell them what they have, but it doesn't actually tell them how to use what they have.
Yeah.
And that's the big difference between a portfolio and a plan.
In that portfolio, how many of those are walking in and actually know what's in their portfolio?
I would say even less, probably less than 5% actually have an idea of what's in that portfolio and how it should operate for them.
So how do we change that in moving through? What's the difference between I've prepared, I've accumulated, I've done all of this. What is coming in and trying to have a retirement plan look like then?
Well, I think the industry has done such a good job of telling us accumulate, right? Save. And that's great while you're working. But whenever you're moving close to those retirement years, it's more about coordination and how your money's supposed to work for you.
Okay, what does coordination look like? Give me an idea.
I mean, I think coordination looks like having, an overall plan, right? How is income going to work for you in retirement? How are taxes going to affect your retirement? What happens when your spouse passes away or you pass away? How is the surviving spouse going to live out the rest of their lives, and what does that look like?
I think for a lot of us, we've gotten used to. I think many of you probably want Grandpa's retirement, right? Grandpa's retirement was great. We were all working under the understanding that we were going to have a pension by the time this was done. Grandpa got the cake, he got the watch, he got the party, and Grandpa got a check. He got guaranteed income at the end of that. And there are plenty in Texas who still now have pension plans. Plenty may be an overused word, because there's probably 12% of Americans now who still have pensions left. So if we want that old-timers way of doing this, how do we start to create, if that's the top of it, an income plan for ourselves down the road?
So, I mean, first of all, I want to say that savings doesn't create income, right? You have to have, it has to be designed. It has to be with intent, right? So what we have to do is we have to look at several things. When are you going to start drawing your Social Security, right? That's not only going to have effect on your life, but also your spouse's life. Secondly, we've got to look at, do you have a pension, right? And what's the most optimal way to draw for you? And then third, we got to figure out a way to take that savings, right, your life earnings, and turn that into a reliable stream of income that is there for you regardless of what the market's doing.
So if people are walking in with all of this, and it can be fairly intimidating, many of you have an advisor, probably have had multiple advisors through the years to say, we're good, let me put you in this plan, we're going into the market, we're going to be fine in the market, we're going to accumulate in the market, and let's move. To even change to that and say, let's do something different, like you did as you moved from a big box firm to independent.
Yeah.
What does it look like to come in and begin the idea of starting a plan?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the reason we developed, our process. And the first step of that process is the baseline wealth check, right? With the baseline wealth check, what we do is we sit down, we don't change anything about your current plan, right? And we run analysis on it. We run stress tests on it to see if you're even in a good place, right? And some people come in and meet with us and we say, hey, you've done an amazing job, right? Keep doing what you're doing. And others, I think they find areas of opportunity that they didn't even know exist, right? So that's the first step of the process. The second step, then we take them through the rest of the process, right? And the second step is the income for life process, making sure that you have a guaranteed stream of income that's going to last for you. From there, we have to do alignment, right, with risk. The risk is subjective, right? And the biggest...
At least the feeling about risk is subjective. Yeah, absolutely.
So, and some people can withstand more risk than others, but the real question is how much risk can your plan withstand, right? And that's what a lot of people aren't looking at. After taking a look at risk, then we dive into taxes, right? And that's what an overall plan looks like.
And I think for a lot of you, this feels foreign, and you'd like some guidance. Look, let's be honest. Most of us feel like we're good enough at do-it-yourselfers to be able to say, I can take this into and through retirement. I can manage the market. And certainly, we've had a run, haven't we? I mean, for the last 3 years, the market has gone above 15%. It's only done that 8 times in history. So we have a recency bias of saying, everything's going to be okay. I'll just stay with what I have. Well, how about if you were offered a second opinion? How much would that cost? How about for free? To get your complimentary Texas Wealth Report. It's a plan that is now comprehensive. Have I actually thought about income? Do I need to adjust the volatility in my investments? How about some of my asset preservation? Do I need to work on that in some way? Have I looked at medical? Have I included taxes in this? Have I even thought about a legacy plan? It's what we do at Impact Partners Financial is put that all together for you. And it's a complimentary plan. Let's get your complimentary Texas Wealth Report to see where you stand and whether or not we can make it better. 866-254-8026, or you can scan the QR code that's on your screen so that we can put together a Texas Wealth Report that will take you into and through retirement so the money lasts until your last breath. This is difficult. Wouldn't you like a little bit of help? 866-254-8026. We'll talk more about your plan when we come back.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. the one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
So glad you're with us on the Texas Wealth Report. Brad Johansson with Coby Culpepper, Impact Partners Financial. We're trying to put together a plan for you. Man, you've probably been trying to put together a plan for a while. Maybe you haven't even thought about a plan. Why do I need a plan in retirement? This will kind of lead you in that way. And I think, Coby, for a lot of people, the idea is, why do I need a plan if the market's going to run like the market's going to run? And we've had a nice little run. And we've been told, you save in your 401k, let's put it away. Maybe with an advisor who has said, hey, the market's going to run, don't worry about it. We don't need to think ahead. Market volatility now changes. How do we manage and it is pressure. There's pressure in the marketplace to say, I hope it goes the way I need it to go so I can retire.
Absolutely. And I think we have been spoiled the past couple years, right? But having a plan is important, right? Because what it does is you have pressures in the market, okay? You have market volatility, you have tax increases, you have long-term care, you have spousal continuation. Those are all things that have pressure on your overall retirement plan.
Yeah.
Right? And if you're just all in the market, right, you're riding that wave. So if the market's good, then maybe it addresses all those things, right? But when the market's going down, that's the question. Is it going to sustain, your plan, and is it going to handle all those pressures that you have in retirement?
If we have somebody who is saying, you know what, the market is the best place to be, and many advisors have done that. How is it different at Impact? And we're kind of talking about the plan, and I want to get into the nitty-gritty of what the plan actually does, to say, if I'm coming out of what is supposed to be the best thing, my growth, how are you going to make sure that I'm ready for retirement if I start changing my money and putting it in different places? And what are those places that I'm now putting my money in rather than riding this high wave that we've had?
Yeah, absolutely. So, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people should take all their money out of the market. The market has a time and place, right? But you have to be a little bit more strategic, right? You do want money in the market. That's your growth. That's your liquidity. We like to call it your fun money, right? But then you also need to have a segment of your money that's designed to be protected, safe, guaranteed. That way, if we do see a big market downturn, you're not caught relying on 100% of your income coming from an account that just dropped 20%.
Yeah.
That's where you really get yourself in a hole. I always put it this way. When you have all your money in the market, it's like an overworked employee, right? So that money in the market has to grow for you. It has to provide protection. It has to provide income. It has to provide long-term care. Meanwhile, it's going up and down and up and down, right? Now, have you ever been in a position to where you've maybe been wearing too many hats at your job?
Amen. Yes.
Yeah. So what typically happens?
You're overworked. You don't perform at your optimal. You feel frustrated. There's anger, and you can't get it all done.
Absolutely. So that's exactly what happens with your portfolio. There's so much pressure, and it's having to do so many different things that it doesn't do everything as well as it could. So what we do when we sit down and we build a plan is simple. We use delegation. We carve off a portion of your money, right? And that's your reliable income money, the paychecks in the mail. The rest of your money, that can be growth money. That can be aggressive growth money. That could be your grandkids' college savings or your long-term care planning. It's all about delegation. And since your money doesn't have to do everything at once, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? You have different pieces working for you at different times.
We have rules that were in place that may be a little outdated. We had the commercials that used to run with your number. Here's your number. This is my number, and I want to get to that number. And some of the rules were in getting to that number. If you get to $1 million and you take out 4%, everything should be fine. Well, the world has changed a little bit. People don't feel like having $1 million is anywhere close to what they need to be able to retire. When we did used to retire, maybe we retired at 65, and sometimes we didn't live past 75. Now our retirements are looking at 30 plus years for a lot of people. Are some of the old rules really outdated, and what we've heard of gain this number and take out this number don't necessarily work? I guess that kind of takes you back to your big box firms where people were put in all one silo. You're at what age? You make what number? Here's what we're going to put you in, and we'll just hold in that. And then once you're done, we'll take out 4%. This is very much different at Impact, and why you have to look at everybody differently in an individual retirement plan.
Absolutely. I think a lot of those rules are antiquated now. First of all, I want to say that there's no magic number, right? And through my years, I've met with families with 10, 15, $20 million that I've had to sit down with them and say, hey, this isn't going to work out, right? Based off of what you're doing, this isn't sustainable, right? And then I've met the sweet old lady with $200,000 in a 401k and Social Security, and she's perfectly fine. Because it all comes down to income needs, right? And your plan has to be designed around your specific income needs.
In dealing with that, how do we move beyond income? And there's a safe place for us. I don't like change. I want to keep my money in the market. I want to make sure this is good. And you talked about liquidity before. We have the money in the market and we have liquidity. Are there spaces to say this is a place we're not going to touch for a while? This is something that we're going to have a different need for? I think it comes back to probably that same phrase of the purpose of your money determines the placement of your money. And we have to have a place for everything to tell your money what to do.
Absolutely.
In working with that, how difficult is it to create individual plans for people?
I mean, I don't think it's difficult to create individual plans because that's what our process is built for, right? The first step of our process is sitting down. It's not a sales meeting, right? It's a one-on-one conversation.
But it feels for a lot of people walking into an office like a sales meeting.
Oh, absolutely.
It's different here?
It's completely different. You know, we are a fiduciary firm, so anything that we suggest, we have to be able to prove it's in your best interest. And if we don't know you, we have no idea what's in your best interest, Brad. So that first meeting is all about you. It's about sitting down, learning what your goals are, what your concerns are, getting an idea of where you currently are and what you've been doing. And then ultimately, what does the future look like? And what do you want to do in the future? What does retirement look like to you?
So putting together the puzzle, and yours is going to look different than everybody else's. So it's getting the process started. It is trying to feel comfortable because after all, it is your money. You want somebody that is going to take you into the family, to say this is going to be a lifelong relationship so that we can make sure that your money does last into and through retirement. Let's put together a Texas Wealth Report for you. One that does last, one that makes sense so that you understand that you have more than just a portfolio. Now you have a comprehensive plan that looks at all the things that you need to look at to make sure that you can retire the way that you want to retire. 866-254-8026. You can scan the QR code for an appointment. Let's put it together for you. Look, we can help, but you have to make the first step. So make the call, 866-254-8026. You ready for a plan? We are too. Be right back.
We see tons of people every day that think that they have a plan. When we get in and we dive in, there's a lot of missing components. Sometimes it's a good start, it's a good philosophy, but some of the old ways that people used to utilize are not the same things that are going to work these days. Financial planning has shifted and changed over the years, and we have to take that approach and be a little bit more progressive in how we plan for things. What's unique about our firm is we are basically a one-stop shop. We've got an accountant on staff, we've got strategic partnerships with attorneys, we've got a Medicare specialist that can help out. If they need Medicare advice, they just call our office. If they are concerned about long-term care, we can take care of that. We basically want to be everything for our clients so they don't have to worry about going somewhere else. It's a jigsaw puzzle, and you've got all these pieces and they have to fit together. That's one of our focuses, is the overall holistic planning, bringing all those pieces together to complete a full plan. Without that, you're at a lot of risk.
Hey, grateful for your time here. Texas Wealth Report, Brad Johansson, Coby Culpepper, trying to put together your Texas Wealth Report. It is trying to figure it out. Look, one of the myths that you've been told is that taxes are going to go down in your retirement. You don't have to worry about it. The income's moving down. We don't have to worry about it. Let's set you straight on this. And this is why Summer and her team at Impact have put together it's a calculator. It is called the ImpactTaxBill.com. You can scan this QR code. I'll leave this up for you here before we go. Scan this, very user-friendly, to be able to go in, understand what you've put away, tax-deferred, what you're qualified for. You know what you're qualified for? More taxes. Uncle Sam has a plan for you if you don't have one for yourself. For now, for at RMD age, and for moving it on to the next generation. But on the other side of the ledger, as you put your information in here, there are strategies to pay less taxes, keep more money in your pocket. Why have we been told this, and or has it changed, Coby, that the idea of don't worry about taxes, and a lot of advisors saying, you don't need to worry about that, let's do that down the road? What's the mistake of that?
I mean, I think the biggest myth in the financial industry is that you have no control over your taxes. That's absolutely not true, right? If you are doing strategic planning and you have a plan to address taxes, you can choose, when you pay your taxes and how much you pay in taxes each year, right? Now, I'm not saying that you don't have to pay taxes, right? If you don't pay taxes...
You're wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Exactly. But you can have control over how to pay, how much taxes you pay.
As we use this tax calculator, ImpactTaxBill.com, scan the QR code as you go. What are the ideas on strategy, and why is it a mistaken advice for a lot of advisors to say, let's wait? We're in the third best marginal tax bracket that we have seen in history. And it doesn't feel like it, but we have an advantage, don't we, right now, to use the rules that we have in place?
Absolutely. If your current advisor isn't taking advantage of these lower tax brackets, you don't have a solid retirement plan, right? If you cannot control your taxes in retirement, you do not have a retirement plan.
Give me an idea, because we have two things as we talk about strategies. And I think Roth is probably at the top of that. For those who are still working, Roth contributions. For those who are moving past that, Roth conversions. Can you take me through that and why those are two important things for us right now in the environment that we have tax-wise?
Absolutely. I mean, a Roth contribution is pretty simple. You pay the taxes on the money now while taxes are lower.
While you have a job.
While you have a job, and you let that money accumulate tax-free. Now, a Roth conversion is a little different story, right? So over 95% of the individuals we meet with, the majority of their money is in 401ks or IRAs.
Tax deferred.
Meaning there's a tax bomb waiting.
Yeah.
Right? So what we do is we choose how much taxes we're going to pay each year. So it's a simple process. We put a plan together, we revisit it each year because tax laws change, and we slowly move that money from the tax deferred bucket over to the tax-free bucket.
In the idea that you are in a tax bracket. And for a lot of us, we don't understand there's a little bit of wiggle room that we can use.
Absolutely, and right, so you could be in the 22% tax bracket this year, but who's to say you're not in the 28 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
So if we have money that we can actually use in strategy, you're going, as you said, you're going to pay taxes on it. And if you have wiggle room that gives you several $1,000s of Roth conversion ability, we use that over a period of time before the government is going to change the rules on our RMDs.
Correct. And getting those conversions done before RMDs, I always say, puts the power in your hands, right? You choose how much money you're going to spend. You choose, what tax bracket you're going to pay. And at this point, if you've done Roth conversions, you're not paying any taxes, right? It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. As a matter of fact, it is one of the guides that we have here as well. The tax guide that is there, impacttaxbill.com, will take you to the idea of, what do I have? What do I owe? What can I use to strategize to pay less? We'll send you out the tax guide as well in all of this, because it becomes complicated. And there does need to be a strategy to try and figure out how you're going to keep more of your money in your pocket so that your money is going to last until the very end. Look, this should be the best time of your life, and you should know how to evaluate it in the very best way, which is why we send you out the Texas Wealth Report. You can call 866-254-8026 to put that wealth report together so that it works for you. Because your retirement isn't going to look like anyone else's, and we'll treat it as such. Let's put one together for you. We're grateful that you spent time watching us here. Now we need to see you in the office. And then we'll see you right back here next time on the Texas Wealth Report.